Digital IDs. Why does the Starmer regime want to bring in digital IDs? Well, it's very simple. They want to start a social credit score. They look at the likes of China and they're frothing at the mouth. They want a society like that where undesirable people can't even work. And a lot of people are going to be watching this saying, well, what do you mean? Well, if you look at China, they have a social credit score. If you don't toe the line, if you go against the government narrative, you'll be put down in the social credit score. And that is very handy for authoritarians. You need to know that. And Starmer, with his rhetoric and his behaviour, is locking people up for tweets, not even mean tweets. You just criticise certain cultures within the British culture and you can be locked up, even if these questions that you have are legitimate. So that's what you need to know. You really need to understand that the digital ID is to spearhead a social credit score. So let's scrape this way back to Madeleine McCann. I forget the exact date, was it like 2006, 2007? Gordon Brown tried to spearhead his own campaign of mass IDs all across Europe. He tried to use the Madeleine McCann situation to do this. So they try to use atrocities like what happened to Madeleine McCann for political power and political gain. Problem, reaction, solution. Now, I'm not saying Gordon Brown had anything to do with Madeleine McCann, but it wasn't an extreme situation as, say, mass immigration, where they possibly could execute digital IDs with the mass immigration situation that we're going through. So they create the problem of mass immigration. The reaction is people are unhappy about this because their whole towns and culture is just being eroded around them. Here, even in Ireland, north and south. And they say, well, the only solution to this is for everybody to have a digital ID. But this isn't to stop mass immigration, because I don't know about you, but if you came from a war-torn country, you would still come to the country if you knew it was going to be better than the country that you're fleeing from. They don't care about, digital IDs. It's solely down to getting a digital ID for you, the native of that country, because they don't like your rhetoric online. They don't like you venting your opinion. They don't like the fact that you went against them during the COVID-19 pandemic. They don't like the fact that you didn't get the vaccine, the mRNA. With a digital ID, what they could implement is social credit score, where if you're not vaccinated, you don't get into some buildings. If you are considered an undesirable because of your opinions, well then it'll just go down in this little social credit score, digital ID, that you are far right. And if you walk into a building, it will ping and you're not even allowed into this building. What they're proposing here is to completely eradicate people from society that don't even carry these digital IDs. It will be mandatory to present them when asked. Now, another thing that people don't really understand, especially here in the north of Ireland, Northern Ireland, is that I'm an Irishman. So you could say that Northern Ireland is a part of the UK, okay. However, I'm an Irishman. Because of the Good Friday Agreement, I don't consider myself British. But somebody who is living here can consider themselves British. I've never had a British passport in my life. So for me to accept a British digital ID card would be going against all my values, because I'm not a British man, I'm an Irishman. So that's something that really needs to be talked about here. So if I am an Irishman and legally by law I'm an Irishman living here in Ireland, regardless if you call it Northern Ireland, it's still Ireland. By law and with my rights, I do not have to accept a British ID card. And that is a fact. I don't need to accept it. I don't want it. I wouldn't want it even if the Irish government proposed this, and they probably will. So that's another thing. This totally goes against the Good Friday Agreement. Now, immigration, mass immigration, needs to be sorted out, legal and illegal. That we live in, well, just here in Ireland, north and south, we've got a population under 8 million, but it's growing. But it's growing due to mass immigration. It's not growing naturally with our own people. Now, I'm not against immigrants. I work around a lot of immigrants, and they're really good, decent people. However, there is a subsection to the immigrants that are coming in that aren't coming to work. They're coming to be on the dole, welfare. I see them all the time. I'm going to work, they're out in their tracksuits and they're smoking, and they do that all day. And I work around other immigrants that don't do that, and I have a lot of respect for them. Of all different colours and all different creeds. I've got many friends of many different colours and creeds. So this isn't me racially targeting anybody. But the fact is, as an Irishman, my people went all around the world. And what did we do? We worked. We were known for building things. We built in England, America. So that needs to be sorted out. But digital IDs are not the answer. That is just the solution the government has presented because they see an opportunity to gain political power. And that is a fact. This won't stop mass immigration. The only way to stop mass immigration is to stop allowing these people in. And unfortunately, for the people out there that say that I'm wrong about this, the human rights of an individual that has just landed here illegally and legally needs to be different from an individual that has been born and raised here or has been here for a very long time. You can't just rock up onto Ireland, North or South, England, Scotland, Wales, and have the same rights as everybody else. That needs to change. And that's why we're being hit so hard. And if they really wanted to stop mass immigration, they would change the legislation around that. But they're not doing that. They want digital IDs for their future socialistic credit score, their social credit score, so they can control you. So if you're an undesirable, you won't even be allowed around people that are desirable, because if you are, their social credit score will lower also, which totally ostracizes you from society. And that's what they want. That's what the Starmer regime wants. Don't trust these people, regardless if they're Tory, Labour. Reform UK is controlled opposition, and you need to know this.